We are in Terre Nere, so we're in the tasting room and we're tasted through the wines and stuff. But the 2020 vintage is one of the vintages that I think will separate the men from the boys. It was a difficult vintage, as many difficult vintages, when you're lucky, among other things. And you've done things as they should be done, I guess, in some way or form. I think it will become one of my favorite vintages. It's not a big sized, voluptuous vintage. It's not a big tannic vintage. There's nothing large about it. The wines are made with very beautifully ripe grapes, never overripe. They have a sharp identity. There is a gentleness on the palate. The alcohol is positively under average, so 13.5, which is still high by world standards. 13.5, 14% alcohol, but not like in 2017 it was 15 and stuff like that. There's a great balance in the wines, even from the very beginning. Very, very young wines, very, 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 very balanced. Few of them have a little corner coming out of acidity or a little something that has to be or of tannins like the Moganazzi that has to relax and will relax. I find that all the wines, starting from the Etna Rosso, throughout the whole series of what I call my Premier Cruise and my Grand Cruise, you find the same kind of lovely concentration in a delicate body. So eminently drinkable wines that will age beautifully. 15, 20 years, I'm absolutely sure of that. And wines that have, again, great identity for the vineyards that they respect. I find them reminiscent of the 2015 vintage, which has, if you drink it now, it's absolutely glorious, and it will be more and more in time. It has a finesse and a complexity on top of it, which is very, very rare. I much prefer it to the 14, which is much more powerful, more famous, has more consideration and time. I do believe this is the kind of vintage that I like, that expresses itself in all its beauty in a discreet fashion. Fine wines, in my opinion, should be discreet. They never have to, yell, raise their voice. They don't have to flex their muscles. They just are there, and this is what these wines are. You drink them, they're there. Pinpoint every single vintage. They were born beautifully. And I'm very proud of them. 2021, and this is, again, really surprising. Both the reds and the whites are surprising. The reds suffered more than the whites from lack of rain. For some reason, the berries of the whites were not as tiny and did not suffer as much. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But you would have expected warm whites, not brilliant, high-toned whites as they are. But for some reason that is beyond me, the whites are as beautiful as we've ever made them. Perhaps one of the finest vintages we've ever had. The wines, from the Etna Bianco to Cur, which is very almost electric in its brilliance. It's just open, fine, fresh, fragrant, high acid, and generous in its expression. Montalto a bit more closed, as full Caricantes should be. This one from the south side and very high up in altitude. You get the acidity only on the palate, but not on the nose. And on the end of the palate, you get the rush of the round and fullness of the wine. In time, it will become a superlative wine. The two north side wines, Santo Spirito and Calderara, for me, the great classics. Right now, they have, it's like, I don't know, for me, it's like tasting very fine expressions of Burgundy. Very, very fine. Different. The Santo Spirito is more like a Merceau. It has a more crunchy, high tone thing, and the Contrada is warmer, sweeter, a bit more, not, I wouldn't say shy, but wants you to penetrate inside it to to discover more. It seems that it needs, it needs you to go, it coaxes you to go inside and to discover more stuff.